Counselor Waltney?
It's a good group. I'll send you the list later.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be able to
Counselor
just
Allen?
rattle it off right now, but Robert.
Counselor Smith?
I think it's Plus.
And Counselor Harden.
Here.
So what are we saying right now? We have three, we're calling Waltney out?
I'm here, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
So we have 4?
So we just have all of them on out?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't see you, Mr. Waltney, sorry for that. So 4 out, present, 1 absent.
You have 2 present.
Huh?
There's 2 of us here.
3.
I have
No, we have
4. 1, 2,
Is
3,
Barry here?
4. Barry Smith's behind you. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. I thought you, all right, I misheard you.
4
All
present,
right.
1 absent.
All right, let's start at, the August 21st, committee meeting. Do we have a motion to dispense with the reading and approve those as distributed?
So moved. Second.
Okay, moved by
Yeah. No,
Waltney, second by Mr. Harden.
It's Waltney and Harden.
Mm-hmm. Any questions on that? Thank you for your help with that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed vote at the same time. That passes 4-0. Starting at the top, 2504 from 17, request for consideration of 18th Street revitalization. Is there anything left on this? Are we ready to drop this? Kale?
18th Street.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it every time we're in here. It's not.
Well, I know, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, no, the project is not over with. The city's still under contract with Aldott.
And Birmingham has
I
not
have your
completed their
script,
work
so
or
I-
reimbursed us for it, right?
That's right. They haven't started it
So
yet.
they haven't even started it.
All right,
I'm
so stay on.
kind of under the mindset that we don't need to drop it until that work is complete and Birmingham is reimbursed.
Well, do we need to table this?
Yeah, we can table it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We still gotta do the Birmingham part that they're paying us back for.
Right, yeah, they
All right,
haven't
I'll
even
make a
started that
motion to
work.
table 250417.
I will second that.
Okay. Harden made a motion.
I might
Mr.
put a
Second
barrier
to
around
table.
that one.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed vote the same sign. 4-0, that's tabled.
Because I want to keep that around so we
Now,
can
please
check in our
bring it back up.
Big things,
We need
sugar
to-
light.
Okay,
He ain't been home in 10 days. He lives
Alex, are
in
you ready? 2006, 23, request for consideration of city manager.
And we texted it.
I've been sending it right there.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, sorry.
Okay.
All right. So what I wanted to do tonight was to go over sort of what the statute outlines in terms of options for the council composition. If we keep down the path that we've talked about going under the statutory arrangement. There are 4 options under the 2 statutes, and I'll admit this is a little confusing as to why there are 2 statutes, but there are. So here are the options, some of which I think can, at least in my opinion, can sort of easily be ruled out. One is that you have 9 counselors, which would be the mayor and 4 districts with double representation. So you have 2 representatives from each of 4 wards and the mayor, which would make 9 people. I personally don't see any reason for 9 people. That's pretty much what we got now. and if you've got a city manager, you shouldn't need that many. So that one to me doesn't sound viable. The next one is a 7-person council, which has 6 single representation districts and a mayor. I don't think going from 5 to 6 makes sense. I think that's more complicated, not less. And I think it creates issues with regard to trying to make sure representation matches up right. So to me, that one is, my personal opinion is that one is not really an option either. That leaves 2 5-person council options. One is where you have 4 districts, single representation districts, and a mayor. And the other is where you have a mayor, 1 at-large position, and 3 single representation districts.
So you said 4 single representation and a mayor, 1 at large, and 3?
Correct, those are the 2 options.
3 districts.
3 districts. So see, what we're looking at is 3 districts or 4 districts. And My opinion is, from when we were going through all this with the committee, is that 4 districts makes more sense because you are changing less, which I think is a big deal. You are changing, and that's a big deal for 2 reasons. One is just people's familiarity, right? You're changing what they think their ward is. You're doing that less than you are if you do 3. And the other reason is because it's easier to fulfill our requirement that the districts generally have similar representation in terms of numbers. The population's sort of the same.
Which one is it? I missed that part. Which one's easier to
4.
fulfill?
The
The 4
4
single districts.
4 single districts.
Yeah.
That's the third option that he presented.
And so, to me, that option is the best one, but I know I've been looking at this longer than everybody. So, I also just don't see the need for the at-large position. To me, that's sort of a wasted position, because you can, quite frankly, the council can do what we do now, right? And appoint a president pro tem, which would be the only real thing for that person to be, that would be different from the mayor. So from my standpoint, the best option is doing 4 districts and a mayor. You have to redraw the lines a little bit, but not a lot, I don't think. So you're changing less. There's some continuity to it for residents, and it gets us to a number that makes sense with the city manager, as opposed to 9 or 7 or all those sorts of things. So that's my opinion as to what we should work towards. But I know y'all are hearing some of this for the first time, so I'm happy to answer questions. And then what I would say is, think about it between now and the next committee meeting. And if we can sort of start to move towards that, then I think we can start to put together a sort of proposal start to work towards a proposal that we can consider and decide if we want to put it out there to the public for a referendum.
Yeah, and I will say, I just, again, I haven't been as intimately involved in this as you and Carlos have been, but in my opinion, people really, really wanted this. This was one of the things that people mentioned over and over again during that last election. But I think if we make it as inconvenient as we can, I think if you start messing with people's wards and all of a sudden people in Ward 2 are now Ward 1 with people that are across Green Springs and Ward 3, it gets real complicated. I think you're right. People do have a certain identity of where they are in the process, and the least amount that we can affect that is probably better. And I'm with you. I don't see I'm not sure I understand really what the value of having an at-large position is. People are used to us having single districts, and I think that is what people are comfortable with, and I feel like that makes the most sense in my brain right now, just,
Yeah, there are other
processing it.
initial thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. I also like the idea of keeping ward representation generally, and
Right.
not necessarily going to an at-large model where we're just picking from all over the city.
Right.
I think that guarantees representation to our respective wards. And I like how we do it here.
Yeah.
It guarantees that all parts of the city have some sort of representation.
People feel like they have a person that's advocating for them, yeah, instead of it just being willy-nilly.
But what is the council at large, district too?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just a confusing election. Why is this one person running at large and
Everybody else
I
is
got
running for
mine,
this
and then I
one.
gotta vote for this?
Correct.
Yeah.
It just, the whole thing seems to be,
It muddles things.
yeah, it just does. And it's sort of, the goal here is that we improve city government by putting in a city manager that will help government run better. What we don't want to do is to change so much that we start from scratch, because quite frankly, Homewood's done pretty well to this point. And so we want to take what's good about what we've done, add this one component to it, and make it better. And I think this option does that better than the other options.
And I mean, obviously, the higher number options aren't even, because no city manager worth their salt wants to work with 9 city council. I mean, you might as well not have a city manager at that point. I mean, that's what we have, that's what we're doing now, and so I think.
Birmingham has 9 city councilors, we are 25,000 people.
Right,
We do not
yeah,
need the 9
we do
city
not need
councilors.
those people, no,
And so
we do not
then
need
the
them.
question is, looking at number 2, the 6 single districts versus the 4 single districts, do we go up one district? I mean, I'm just trying to
No.
create
No.
conversation.
That makes it more complicated rather than
Yeah,
less
so
complicated.
Alright,
it does, and
I
it
want
makes it.
conversation,
It makes
that's
it
all.
more complicated in a couple of
Slicing
ways.
up
Now you're slicing up wards and more wards that way, and that gets really complicated for a number of reasons. Not the least of which is trying to make sure representation is the same, trying to get the numbers relatively equal, how many people you're affecting with it, everything about it. Plus, you're ending up with 7 people, which you don't need on, in my opinion, that you don't need on council. So you got 2 extra people that you don't need. You know, most cities our size have a 5-person council. And that works really well, or I anticipate it will work really well, when the calls are going to a city manager. I mean, that's the whole point. That's what people want, is to have
a voice.
have a
One
person who is here all
Yeah.
day, every day, that they can call, as opposed to waiting on us to get off our other jobs and doing whatever. That's really not what for city to run most effectively and efficiently, that should be handed off to the city manager rather than the counselors doing it. In order to, and so once that is done, you don't need as many counselors. I don't think you need 7. You certainly don't need 9, you certainly don't need 11. So to me, 6 creates a number of problems and doesn't really solve anything.
But we've needed to even up the wards anyway. I mean, they're not evenly.
Ward 5's been just way underrepresented with people.
I mean, we just need to get the numbers.
More even,
Even.
Yeah.
And that'll give us that opportunity.
It will.
It's
That-
Hollywood.
That, by going
Don't worry,
from
I'm
5
moving
to
your way.
4, it just doesn't take that much to get from 5 to 4, depending on how you wanna do it, obviously, but it just doesn't take a whole lot to do that.
It's much less disruptive.
It's much less disrupted, and it's much easier to you just gotta balance the numbers a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
making sure that they stay even. But you're starting from something that's pretty even right now, and so dividing it up doesn't, like I said, just becomes easier than if you're dividing it into 3.
Okay.
Councilor
so-
Jones, just
Yes.
one quick follow-up for President Wyatt to clarify then. So are we, in this consideration of these structures from the statute, is that confirming that we're in agreement about the council manager style government
Yeah.
of those 3 options?
So,
Yeah.
because I missed a couple of committee meetings in here, so about a month or so ago, and I think it may have been while you were out of town,
Yeah.
everyone that was here that night sort of said,
Great,
that's the,
sorry.
that's the model that we wanna go with, and so now what we're doing is, without having, you sort of accepted it, because you need to know the details of it before anyone can vote on it. But we're traveling down that path
Yeah.
with that model and seeing trying to flesh out the details so that everyone can be comfortable with all aspects of the model and what it will look like in Homewood.
Thanks.
Okay, so any other questions? I guess we'll carry this over, and I think by next meeting, let's come up with consensus. It sounds like the 4 districts plus the mayor on the council seems to be the favored choice, but think about it and let's finalize that in the next meeting, and then we'll have dates as to what needs to happen.
Yeah, I'll work
based on
on sort of, once we make that decision, what the next considerations are and the timeline to do that, so that we can stay on track for our general timeline that we've talked about getting a referendum, if we want it, sometime in the first quarter of 24.
Right. All right, so we'll
And
carry
you
that
still-
over.
Let me ask one thing, Alex. We're still on the same time track that we started talking about this summer, and here's what we gotta do by this date, by this date, by this date.
Correct, so we're still on track for, if we need to have a referendum, having that sometime in the first quarter of 24. Assuming it passes, then we would take whatever time we needed for the rest of 24 to do a search and find the person that we wanted to hire. And then somewhere around the end of 24, beginning of 25, that person would step in, become familiar with Homewood between then and November of 25, when the new council would take its seats.
All right, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Ms. Nelms is here. She's just not sitting where she wanted to sit, but she's sitting right here. Okay, so we'll carry that over. Moving on, 02-08-23, bid opening set for October 2nd. 4:31 PM. Revised paving, everything looked good for that, Berkeley? Good? Okay. October 2nd is gonna be, the date on that, so we'll carry that over for, pending the bid opening date. Moving on to new business, 120823, request to amend FY '22 budget. We've got two different groups within that. Let's start with Berkeley. With Berkeley, there's no new money. It's, simply, I have, I think there was okay, so there's a resolution that was distributed, I think, earlier, or no, last week.
There's one this afternoon.
We had, it was.
And then it was
we added
amended.
one, the one
So,
is-
so we've got, 15,000 from vehicle maintenance to the dump fee, $100 from uniforms to minor tools, 400, heavy equipment repair to equipment repair, 1,200, and equipment repair to building and grounds maintenance. This is really cleanup for finishing up the budget. This is all, no new money.
No.
1,800 from wages to overtime, 300 from uniform rental to natural gas, 1,800 from wages to wireless, 12,000 from wages to contractual services, and 2,000 from wages to travel and conference. I think that's, let's see, and then section 2 is just, talking about how we're gonna execute it. But those are the, recommended.
There's a police department, one Robert just sent me.
Yeah, I think you hadn't gotten to that one yet, have you, the police department?
They just sent the last.
It was sent out as an amendment to the, let me see.
It was sent, but after Robert asked you, could we do that one tonight here, he said, he redid the resolution for the vehicle maintenance.
Well,
29.
I said yes, and we were gonna include it in this resolution.
We did.
We did. It was added to that resolution.
He
I
sent
sent
it
out
back
an
out.
amended resolution for a carryover fund balance of 29,500 to police vehicle maintenance.
He
That's
sent it
at
back out to.
406.
He sent it back out to y'all after I had sent out the one earlier.
Isn't that a separate resolution, Mike?
It's in this resolution.
So we were just.
No, look,
Then where is it?
here. Here we go. No, wait, that's surplus.
I think it just sent out right before I came
Yeah,
back here.
here. It was amended.
What's going on? What
That's,
I have?
that's because, well, I sent it out, but then it was it was considered an emergency because they're out of money again, and so I think Robert talked to
Yeah,
him, and he
I'm
sent
sorry,
a revised.
I sent it out
one.
at 344, the amended budget
350.
resolution to include budget requests for police vehicle maintenance.
29,500.
Oh, let's see.
I don't,
Oh, he sent out at 344.
that wasn't the Dodge Durango and that.
That was
Well,
surplus.
that's a different one.
Yeah, 3044, that's the one I've got.
It's just that one at the bottom of the police department.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Carryover fund
yeah, there it is.
balance, 29,500 for police vehicle
29,500.
maintenance.
Okay,
It
that's
is
what
on
I
there.
don't have on this one, okay.
I got
So.
Sorry to print out the one I sent earlier.
So the police department is new money, it's 29,500 from carryover fund balance to vehicle maintenance.
They've already had one budget amendment at least, or two, but they're totally out of money, so they're having to do manual purchase orders.
Okay, so those are the budget amendments.
All right,
Thank you, I just did not get that.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve the budget amendments on the amended budget amendments as presented.
Second.
Okay, Mrs. Smith and Mr. Gwaltney was first, I think, seconding that. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign, that's 5-0. Councilor Alamon is here.
I probably need to go get you that exhibit then, cause you're gonna probably just, we added three.
And this is
three
the list
more.
of the surplus items. The email was sent, but it's also a list. And
Did you get the extra three that Amy just did?
I'm sorry?
Did you get the extra three of white pews?
I got the 3 vehicles, but I don't have a description or a VIN
I'll
yet,
go
but we will
it.
get that.
You
Did
gotta
you get
add
it?
You
Okay,
gotta add it.
moving on, 130823, request to surplus various municipal items. So we have, this was sent out, and I don't think we have all of them. So we've got,
Ooh, all those sanitation trucks.
we got fleet maintenance, you can it's either 8 vehicles for fleet maintenance. And then are they, what is this last page? Is that-
The last page is
that's-
laptop desktop computers that Justin's asking to surplus.
Okay.
Older computers.
8.
And there's some other, a few
Okay,
printers.
and then what additional is part of this?
Well, there's really no addition. It's that the description on the 3 vehicles is not complete yet, but I think Melanie's gonna go get it. We did not have the VIN numbers.
Which one?
Which ones?
On the very first page, it's a
The
Dodge
Durango.
Durango,
Oh,
a
okay.
GMC Safari, and a Chevrolet Tahoe. We emailed those, I'm requesting, earlier, and Gordon was not able to provide those today for us.
Okay. All right. Okay, so what we have before us for the surplus are the distributed VIN numbers, which are eight vehicles for fleet maintenance plus, and then Wyatt Pugh has the 3 Dodge Durango, GMC Safari van, Chevrolet Tahoe, that we'll get the VIN numbers and descriptions to Mike so we can be prepared for the ordinance tonight. You have it? Okay.
Wrong date.
And then the computers that are part of that, so.
All right, I would make a motion to approve the surplus items.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Smith, second by Mr. Harden. Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no, the same sign. 5-0, that passes. And 1908-23, request to pay holiday pay to command staff and police.
And that's why I don't have the cars. I have on the front of my surplus thing, I have the thing about the police officers. So if you need
Oh,
to
did
know-
I, I'm sorry, I did
There's,
that.
that's how much it is.
Oh,
Here's the 3 that were,
Oh, okay.
sorry, that's the
And
3 that
Mike-
were.
I'm sorry,
Mike-
stapled the wrong one for you.
No, I'm just letting you know, but they're-
I'm
I was
good.
just letting you know for sure.
Okay.
This is the new reprinted resolution for the budget amendment that has the police department on it, so you can have that one too. So you're all got up to date.
Perfect.
And that's the amount for the.
Okay, and so
holiday pay.
that total holiday payout for police command staff is $20,752.64. It involves six staff individuals here.
All
May I
right,
ask a question?
yeah.
Yep.
So we have a policy now that we don't basically accrue this forward, so we have to pay it out, correct?
Correct.
We amended it last year, I believe. Was it
Maybe
2
2 years ago, it's 80 hours on comp time for police and 96 hours on holiday time.
How do we end up, who knows the answer, how do we end up here with this?
The command staff no longer accrues the holiday time.
Okay.
They take the time, the same holiday that City Hall is closed, and this is holiday time that they've had on the books that they need to be paid out for.
Gotcha. So we won't see this going forward?
They will not carry holiday time going forward.
Okay.
And
It was accrued before the policy change.
Didn't we pay it all out previously? I thought at the policy
Everybody
change.
except command staff.
well, we let everybody keep 96 of holiday and 80, so it wasn't, command staff wasn't excluded. And we're in the process of drafting this resolution to see what y'all said, but the resolution was gonna say that the dollar amount of which y'all were gonna pay the commands, what they consider the 6 people that are command staff. And I'm assuming say that further that once they're promoted to command staff and will no longer accrue holiday, they need to be paid out before they get that promotion. That's what the wording was gonna say, because if not, then they're paying at a different rate of pay than they earned it. So that's
Yeah.
what the resolution was gonna say.
Okay.
If that's what y'all wanted to say, that we're drafting, is that the 6 command staff that no longer accrue holiday because they take the holiday of City Hall, that they will be paid out upon that promotion that considers them command staff, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that how you want it worded?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes,
just to
question
say,
mark?
but just to say pay it out, it's not gonna say like, you gotta stop it from happening in the future.
I see what you're saying.
One
It's
time.
worded in such a way that
One time.
this is your
Final.
payout and now you're done.
Final
payout.
payout.
Cause we don't, cause otherwise when, they're not gonna, because when somebody's taken from, I guess, I don't wanna say non-exempt exempt, but when they need to be paid out, so where that
Doesn't
so
happen
management
anymore.
doesn't accrue.
Right, okay.
Okay, good.
Got it, okay. in that regard.
That's why I'm trying to work on this, guys,
Yeah.
exactly what y'all wanted to say.
Then I would, make a motion to approve paying out the $20,752.64 to the 6 command staff personnel.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Smith, second by Counselor Allen. Any questions, any more questions on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. 5-0. Anything on the, tabled item you want to deal with?
Not today.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Oh, do we do that? I thought you just usually adjourn.
I usually.
You're just
So
having fun.
moved.
Second.
Moved and second. It supersedes any other motion. Is everybody aware of that?
Hardin Smith.
What's a motion to
Are you
adjourn?
giving us, like, Robert's Rules of
I'm
Order
just giving you, I'm just giving you the Robert's rules. I mean, that's
Give it
it.
your pot.
It supersedes, so we can't talk about
Hot
anything.
news.
All in favor?
Aye.